Hi sir, I'm Mayunan Kanadurka and I'm studying second year of medicine. Your name and age please?
M. Kumar, age is 20.
Okay, today I'm going to examine the cardiovascular system.
Okay.
Before that, make sure your hand must be sanitized. Jugular venous pressure or JVP. Estimating JVP is one of the most important and frequently used skills in physical examination. JVP reflects pressure on the right atrium or central venous pressure and is best assessed from right internal jugular vein. JVP provides information about volume status and cardiac function. Place the head of examining table to 30 degree with the patient supine and place the patient's head on pillow to relax the sternomastoid muscle. Examine both sides of neck and ask the patient to slightly turn his head to the left. Identify the external jugular vein and then find the internal jugular venous pulsation. And then lower the head of bed. Look for oscillation point of pulsation along the sternomastoid muscle between the clavicle and then angle of jaw. Measure the oscillation point of pulsation in right internal jugular vein. For this, I am going to use a card from the meniscus point of pulsation while extending a centimeter ruler vertically from the sternal angle. Make sure the edge of the cord at the point of oscillation read the vertical distance where the cord crosses the ruler. Venous pressure is elevated above is normal. When it is measured at greater than 3 cm to 4 cm above the sternal angle or 7 cm to 8 cm in total distance above right atrium. Next, assess the carotid pulse. Carotid pulse provides valuable information about cardiac function and is especially useful for detecting stenosis and insufficiency of aortic wall. Your assessment will include both palpation of amplitude and counter of the carotid upstroke and auscultate for the presence or absence of bruise from the turbulent blood flow. Inspect and palpate the both left and right carotid arteries and compare. Do not press both arteries at once. Place your index and middle finger in the right carotid artery, roughly at the level of cricoid cartilage. Slightly increase the pressure until you feel the maximal pulsation and then slightly decrease the pressure. Next, using the diaphragm of your stethoscope to listen the sound and ask the patients to hold breath to listen the bruit sound. This sound is like a whooshing, murmur-like sound from the vascular organ. Auscultate both right and left carotid arteries. Your examination of heart consists of inspection, palpation and auscultation, starting with inspection and palpation. Stand at the patient's right side and have the patient supine. First, inspect the anterior chest. Note for any heaves or lifts. Palpate the chest wall. First, palpate for heaves or thrills using your finger pads as you palpate in the right and left second interspace along the left sternal border and in apical area. Next, check for thrills by pressing ball of your hands firmly on the chest in the same location. Identify the apical impulse using palmar surface of several fingers. Palpate to confirm the characteristics of apical impulse. Note its location, diameter and amplitude. Identify the location of apical impulse by their interspace. If you feel any difficulty, ask the patient to turn on his left lateral side. Palpate using your palmar surface of several fingers. Then feel for amplitude of apical impulse. It is usually a small subtle tap. Next, feel for right ventricular impulse at the lower left sternal border. While keeping one finger at the third interspace, place additional fingers on fourth and fifth interspace. And then feel for right ventricular impulse in the epigastric area. Next is auscultation. Auscultation of heart sounds that leads directly to important clinical diagnosis. Listen the heart sounds of aortic area in the right second interspace close to the sternum. Identify S1, S2 in aortic area. In aortic area, S2 is usually louder than S1. In pulmonic area, S2 is louder than S1. Ask the patients to inhale and exhale. To identify the inspiratory splitting of S2 into its two components. The first component is A2 is from aortic wall closure and the second component P2 is from pulmonic wall closure. The S2A and S2P is occurs during inspiration and during expiration both sounds are fused into single sound S2. Next, switch to bell of your stethoscope. Listen the lower left sternal border, in the fourth and fifth interspace, and then listen the apex. Ask the patient to turn on his left side to hear the sound S3, S4 and murmur of mitral stenosis. Recheck the position of apical impulse. Note third heart sound disappears when the bell is placed more firmly on the chest wall. Also listen with light pressure. Palpating the carotid pulse, it can help you with timing. The systolic murmur falling between S1 and S2 and coincides with carotid upstroke, and the diastolic murmur falling between S2 and S1 and falling before and after the carotid upstroke. Palpating carotid upstroke as you listen the murmur is an important tip that helps to decide if the murmur are systolic or diastolic. Systolic murmur can be early, mid or late systolic or even pansystolic. To get a better detect of more subtle diastolic murmur of aortic regurgitation and mitral stenosis, you should use two maneuvers routinely. First maneuvers with patient sitting up and leaning forward. This maneuver enhances the detection of aortic regurgitation by moving ventricle close to the sternum. Ask the patients to exhale completely and hold his breath. The second maneuver helps to detect the murmur of mitral stenosis. Have the patients to change the left lateral decubitus position. Auscultate in this position enhances the detection of more subtle opening snap and diastolic rumble of mitral stenosis. JVP is 3 cm above the sternal angle and carotid pulse is brisk without any bugle sound.